Dude, are you just really gonna lie there all day?
Pretty much.
Have you still not shaved?
Nope. Why do you care?
Because until you do, I can't, and this thing is itchy. Alright. Now what's your problem?
I'm depressed.
Oh, what else is new?
Okay, seriously, you are the worst therapist ever.
I'm not your therapist!
Not with that attitude.
What's wrong this time?
Well, we're coming up on the end of the year. Not only have the weight loss and the job hunt gone terribly, but kind of in a creative slump.
How so?
Well, the last few videos I made, I mean, they were good, but they weren't anything special.
Well, aren't you working on that 10-year anniversary special? Maybe that's taking up some of your creative energy.
I don't know. I mean, I just want to get out of this. I mean, I was hoping to do something Harry Potter related for the 20th anniversary of the first movie, but nothing panned out.
Well, maybe you can do something different.
That's it! I'll talk about game shows!
Wait, what?
What's red and wears glasses, full of holes, and totally original? It's Game Show Network's late night lineup.
Before we got a computer around 2004, I was a TV nut, and obviously being a kid and only having access to the basic cable shows, the main channels I was turned to were Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel. Channels 28, 47, and 58. But there was one other channel that I would usually turn to. Channel 9 for the TV Guide. Yes, I'm serious. But I also went to Channel 64, Game Show Network. No shit, along with the 3 family channels, this was one I would turn on every day because I just love game shows. Sure, being a kid, I never was really good actually at getting questions right, but I did get a kick out of picking a favorite contestant and hoping they win, usually the most conventionally attractive woman. Of course, CBS had stuff like Wheel of Fortune and Price is Right, which I always watched with my Nana when she would babysit me. But GSN had the classics. Match Game, the one where a bunch of celebrities help the most 70s looking people ever win money by filling in blanks. Card Sharks, which despite only having 2 choices, somehow is one of the most nerve-wracking shows ever made. Pyramid, where celebrities and regular people had to play what is essentially a harder version of Catchphrase. And of course, Press Your Luck, which had the 3rd most annoying little red character after the Noid and Elmo.
But we're not going to be talking about the older classic shows. Instead, we're going to be looking at some of their original content.
Not all of it, or even most of it. They still have shows going on to this day, but I stopped watching years ago. In fact, when I looked it up, I noticed something interesting.
My entire memory of Game Show Network original programming is from 2002 to 2003.
Seriously, there are 6 shows that I would watch, and all of them started in 2002 or 2003, and only one of them lasted past that year.
So, why not look back at those?
I rewatched a few episodes of each of these shows, just going down memory lane to remember the 6 Game Show Network originals that I watched religiously during those few years before we finally got the internet.
And we'll start with the reboot of a classic.
The game with big bucks and whammies is back, bigger and better than ever. It's time to play Whammy, the all-new Press Your Luck.
I mentioned Press Your Luck earlier. The premise of that show was that there was this big board with a bunch of squares on it, and the contestants would press the button in front of them to stop the cursor, and what would land it on would either be a prize, a cash amount, or the dreaded whammy. This little bastard was probably one of the most hated things from the 80s, along with E.T. for Atari, casual racism, and the threat of nuclear annihilation. You landed on this guy, you lost everything. Got 4 of them, you're out of the game. Whammy, the all-new Press Your Luck, is pretty much the same. You got 3 contestants who start out telling you what they will do with the money in the most obnoxious way possible, so that you feel some catharsis when they lose it all.
Hi, my name is Stacy. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a homemaker. I need to win the big bucks so I can pay my cat's dental bill.
You don't even own a cat, do you, Stacy?
Then our host Todd Newton, who would have been 30 and yet somehow looks 10 years older, gives them each $1,000 and play the big board like the original. You might get money or a prize such as pasta for a year, a chandelier, or a mini CD system.
Oh, early 2000s.
Or possibly land on Big Bank, which not only gets you a whole bunch of money that the other contestants lost, but also a chance at a car. But of course we don't care about that, we care about when they land on the dreaded whammy. That awful, terrifying CG abomination that will take all of your money.
Don't ever press your luck with the family.
Then the players can choose to continue until they either get a whammy or freeze.
Down to Stacy. Stacy, this could be your chance to take the lead here. You have $16.99.
Freeze, Stacy. Don't do it.
Big bucks, no whammy.
Stop and a whammy.
I told you.
I only downloaded 2 to 3 episodes for each of these shows, and I have to talk about the Abner Michelle Cammy episode. These greedy bitches went on for like 7 rounds, and I blame Abner for this. Yes, I blame the black guy. Call me whatever you want. He was in first place the whole time. Even after Michelle freezes, he goes for it.
Guess how it works out for him.
No whammy, I need big bucks, and stop! And the stops and a whammy.
You deserve it, dumbass.
After the first round, we get into the question round, where we first learn more about our contestants.
Jetta wants a new car.
Yeah, because my car I have is worth nothing. I need a new car.
Blue book value, nothing.
I respect you, Jetta. You're my favorite.
Todd asked a question, and while this was my least favorite part as a kid, now that I'm an adult, I enjoy it a lot more.
What is the only sea creature that can recognize itself in a mirror?
Well, certainly not the humbug fish.
I can't see, Flo.
In 2001, what was the most popular cosmetic surgery procedure among women? Kathy.
Breast augmentation?
Was it breast augmentation, a facelift, or liposuction?
I'm gonna say liposuction.
It was indeed liposuction.
Yeah!
Come on, Kathy, you should know this. You're like the only woman.
Which state ranked the highest as the one where Americans want to live? Is it California, Hawaii, or Florida? Kathy, how about
I'm going
you?
to say Florida.
Well, you're going to be right. It is indeed Florida.
Oh, man, have times changed.
But then, of course, there's a second round where we get the dreaded double whammy. These bastards not only take all your money, but also physically assault the player.
Mommy's home, and I've got some lovely fruit and vegetables.
I better file these important financial documents. This place needs a good cleaning.
So it's like press your luck mixed with a Nickelodeon game show. After a certain amount, you can pass your spins to another contestant who has to use them unless they get a whammy, and remember, get 4, you're out of the game. Not much else to say, it's kind of fun seeing the wacky whammy shenanigans, and there's certainly a lot of energy. Of course, Stacy just so happens to be the luckiest person in the world.
Stop at 500 and a spin! Stacy!
I could have paid off my student loans with that, Stacy. What were you gonna do again?
What do you need some cash for?
My cat's dental work.
Right.
Unfortunately, I now have a 14-year-old toothless cat.
The cat's 14 years old. It's got at best 2 years left.
Anything but a spin! Anything but a spin! Stop!
Stop at a double whammy. That is number 4. And Stacy, that means you are our champion.
Jetta needed a new car, Stacy.
Before we move on, I have to mention the Michael Larson reunion special. Going back to the original Press Your Luck, one of the most infamous episodes featured a man named Michael Larson who managed to figure out the pattern on the board and win over $110,000, or over $275,000 in today's money. He was so famous that not only were there 2 documentaries made about him, but there was a movie planned with Bill Murray playing him that never came to fruition. Not only that, he was born in 1949 and went on the show in 1984.
Meaning this man was 35 years old. I guess that's what happens when you spend all your time watching game shows.
Despite winning, he eventually lost all the money in a series of get-rich-quick schemes and died of throat cancer in 1999. But when GSN released the first documentary on him, they brought his brother James to play the other 2 contestants who played against him back in 1984, Ed Long and Janie Littress, to play on the new show. They even brought the original host Peter Tamarkin for the question round.
Alright, Ed, Jamie, you have a chance to redeem yourselves. How does it end?
Stop it. Move 1 space 2. A hot air balloon adventure, Tiffany Lamps, or the double whammy.
I'll take the hot air balloon adventure.
The hot air balloon adventure. Let's see if it's enough. It's worth $12.25. Not gonna do it. James, Mr. Larson, the legacy continues.
These 2 are cursed. Anyway, next show.
Welcome to Friend or Foe. I'm Kennedy, the woman voted most likely to host a game show.
I'll be honest, I don't remember this show very well since it was the one I watched the least, probably because it's much slower paced. It's about 6 people, 3 chooser, 3 choosees, after they introduce themselves to the audience. Also, bullshit, this woman is 24. And then the host Kennedy tells them something awful they did. Some of them are just dickish things, but some are a little extreme.
Summer wasn't such a doll herself when she put Visine in a creepy guy's drink at a bar. Summer?
I'm sorry. What?
I'm a web designer and I'm really into clubbing.
In fact, Maurice once stole money from a girlfriend's purse so he and his friends could go out and party.
Am I supposed to like these people?
I'm a sound designer and I enjoy yoga, gymnastics, and ballet.
And after a night of exercise, Dana unwinds with a glass of brandy that she shares with her depressed cat.
Don't give brandy to your pets. If Aunt Marge does it, it can't be good. Yes, got a Harry Potter reference in. This is now officially a Harry Potter 20th anniversary tie-in.
After that, the choosers all pick one of the choosies. For some reason in this episode, they all pick the woman who tried to poison her cat. If more than one of them picks the same person, that person gets to pick and we finally get to the game. They each start with $200 and have to answer questions, both agreeing on the answer and locking it in at the same time in order to win more money.
According to the 2001 College Slang Research Project, what's the most popular slang term? Whack, fat, faded, or tight?
Oh, Jesus Christ, 2002.
And the correct answer is tight.
I swear to God, Kennedy, if you try to be hip...
Come on, people. Tight is out of sight. It's all right. That skirt is tight.
If you're wondering where she is now, she hosts her own program on Fox Business Network.
According to a comprehensive market research survey, which of these industries do Americans trust the least? Raymond and Maurice say pharmaceutical. The correct answer, oil and gas.
Some things really do just never change.
The team with the least amount is eliminated and has to decide how they're going to split the money, and thus we get the most interesting part of the game, the trust box. They both press a button indicating friend or foe. If they pick friend, they split the money they earned. If one picks friend and the other picks foe, the foe gets all the money. If they both pick foe, then neither of them gets the money.
It's a show with a message.
Let's see who's a friend and who's a foe. You both went friend. We're about to find out who's a friend and who's a foe. You both have gone foe.
Guys, don't fall into sexist stereotypes.
Let's find out. Phil, if you're a friend or a foe. Oh, Phil, you went foe. Summer, let's see if you're a friend or a foe. Yes, you went friend, Summer.
Well, at least the woman who drugged someone got nothing. Seriously, what the hell?
Then during the final round, the two winners have to answer a series of 50-50 questions to rack up more money. The only difference between seasons 1 and 2 is that season 2 they start out with no money and don't pick the partners, so it takes out even more to make it as bland as possible. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about this one. It's okay, but I only bothered watching 2 episodes because it's just not that interesting. The host is kind of annoying, it's pretty generic, and it doesn't even seem like it would be that fun to play. The very premise of the show kind of makes you not want to see the contestants get anything. The worst people get the most money. The only thing making it unique is the trust box. Besides that, there's not much here outside of a generic question and answer show. But you know who would be interesting to see be a contestant on this? Stacy. Fucking picking foe and betraying her teammate.
We need something more interesting to follow up with. How about a show named after a suicide game?
This is Russian Roulette.
Let me just say, yes, this is real, and it's one of the greatest shows of all time.
The premise is simple. 4 contestants are on 4 of 6 circles on the main floor, and each round starts with what they call a drop zone, with 1 more added after each question. The contestants are asked a question and challenge one of the others to answer it. They get it right, they get money. They get it wrong, they lose all the money to the person who challenged them, and have to play Russian roulette. They pull a lever, and if one of the drop zones lands on their spot, well...
Best show ever made.
This show is a blast. Not only that, it is nerve-wracking. The sound effects, the music, the fact that you only have 10 seconds to answer the questions. I think all of my anxiety issues can be linked back to this show. There's a lot more to it though. The host is Mark Wahlberg. No, not that one, although that would be kind of awesome. This is Mark L. Wahlberg, who's currently the host of some Fox show called Temptation Island, where couples have to live with a group of singles of the opposite sex to test their relationships.
Wow. No one's ever allowed to complain about Love Island again.
He's fun though, he's pretty snarky.
Well, you better have a heated pool or something down there for me to drop into. That's all I have to say. I don't think you're in a position to threaten. Anything you'd like to say before you pull that handle?
I should have tried out for the Hollywood Squares.
You would have been fabulous. Anything you'd like to say, Chris?
Would you want to switch places with me?
Not on your life.
The contestants also have their moments, although some of them are a little bit racist.
If you lost a pair of your Doc Martens, what would you have to replace? All right, Jeff, who do you want to challenge?
I don't want to challenge On because it looks like he knows everything under the sun, and I don't want to upset him with one drop zone.
Why do you say that the Asian guy looks like he knows everything, Jeff?
My absolute favorite contestant, though, one I remember years later, is Jason, because of course that's his name, and he is amazing. I am so glad I found this episode. This guy somehow manages to take every stereotype about gay men and straight men and put them into one person.
I think the women are going to know this answer, so I'm going to challenge Jason.
Bring it.
GQ stands for Guys Questions, Gentlemen's Quarterly, or Gigolo's Quorum.
Gentlemen's Quarterly.
And unfortunately, Daniel, you lose your money to Jason, which sadly encourages him to continue. You're a DJ from Youngstown, Ohio, right?
That's right.
You do weddings and bar mitzvahs and clubs and stuff like that?
I do, but my dream is to, well, I am going to be a rock star. I sing for a band called Pretty Sneaky, sis.
Who do you want to challenge, Jace?
Melissa. Porsche.
Is it Porsche? Yeah, it is. Who do you want to challenge with this? Melissa has no money, Jen has 150.
Jade. Jen.
If you had the choice, who would you like to see take the drop right now? Melissa or Jen?
Jen.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
She's been staring at me.
I know, dude.
You want to see what happens when he falls through the hole, don't you?
No!
I would expect nothing less.
Anyway, the rest of the game goes like this. After the first round, we learn more about the remaining 3 contestants.
Well, let's take a moment to get to know them a little bit.
I mean, at least 2 of them are guaranteed to go. I don't want to get too attached.
By the time we have 1 left, they have to answer several questions. In the first season, it's 5, in the second, it's 10, but it's multiple choice, and they have 60 seconds to answer them all. Every 10 seconds, a drop zone opens. They get an answer wrong or run out of time.
New York Times,
But they finish on time, they get $10,000. However, they can play one final game of Russian roulette with the amount of drop zones that opened while they were answering questions. If they fall, they lose the 10 grand, but they survive, they get $100,000. Only 3 contestants ever won that, and I managed to find one, some crazy woman who did it with 5 drop zones. I love this show. Did I mention every time they come back from commercial, they show the losers falling in slow motion? It's kind of morbidly funny. Even the questions are fun to answer, and they're not ridiculously hard a lot of the time. Sometimes they're super easy.
On the World Wide Web, a website address always begins with what 4 letters?
The fact that this question may have actually stumped someone proves we're in the early 2000s.
One of my favorite game shows of all time, although I'm still wondering, all these years later, what exactly is down those trap doors? Is it like a slide that takes them outside the studio? A small drop into a giant pool of water? A drop into a cell where they are then sold into slavery? Is it Stacy? Freaking Stacy down there to laugh at them for losing? But yeah, look up the show on YouTube. This needs to become a cult classic. I honestly would love a reboot.
Well, be sure to join us next time for the ultimate game of chance, Russian roulette. And as I always tell you, until we see you again, I'm Mark Wahlberg. Remember, watch your step.
The next show is by far the longest running.
It's not just letters, it's lingo.
Hosted by Chuck Woolery, a game show veteran who did Wheel of Fortune before Pat Sajak and also Love Connection, Scrabble, and Greed. And the good thing is he sums up the show at the beginning of each episode.
Nice to have you all with us. Good luck to everybody. Here's how we play lingo. The team in control gets up to 5 chances to guess a mystery word. We start with the first letter of the word. Players take turns making guesses, and our board will indicate if a letter is correct and if it's in the right place. A correct answer is worth 25 points. But if at any time you give us a word that doesn't fit, isn't a real word, or you take too long, control passes to the next team.
So yeah, it's basically bingo mixed with Scrabble, and after meeting our contestants...
My name is Cher Brooks. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I'm a business student.
And my name is Kaida. I'm a wardrobe stylist. I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, I could have guessed you're a wardrobe stylist, Kaida. You didn't have to say it.
They guessed the letters, and it's actually way harder than you think it would be. You only got about 10 seconds to figure these out, and since you know it's a certain letter is there, but in the wrong spot, it makes you overthink things.
Apron. A-P-R-O-N.
Chico doesn't spell. Got an R. You guys want to jump in there?
It's a part, you morons.
Quickly. Well, time is up. Rick and Linda, bonus letter to you. An A. Does it help you? Rick?
It's a part.
Comes over to you, Amber and Greg, with a bonus letter. Here it comes.
Wait. Is it seriously vodka?
Vodka? V-O-D-K-A?
Yes. That's enough.
And then, of course, you reach in for the balls. And this is important. You want the blue balls. That's it, ladies. Reach in and grab the blue balls.
I'm 28.
You do not want the red balls because that sends control over to the other team.
Damn it, Cheryl. Bet you Stacy wouldn't have grabbed the red ball. Come on, grab the blue ball.
69.
Oh my god, you're making this way too easy for me. I mean, keep it classy. I'm sure the other team is.
Erect. E-R-E-C-T.
Oh, screw you, Danny.
Yep, Endow. E-N-D-O-W.
Oh my god, I only watched 3 episodes. How was I able to get so much out of this joke?
But fill out an entire row on the lingo card and you get 100 points, and the team with the most points gets to play bonus lingo. Chuck, please explain.
I'm going to give you 2 minutes to guess as many words as you can. You'll have up to 5 guesses for each word, and every one that you get right is worth $100 and a lingo ball. You want to get as much money and as many balls as possible because you'll need all of those numbers to try to complete your bonus lingo card in order to win the prizes, okay?
Excellent. What do we get if we win?
And today you're playing for a Borders gift card that can be redeemed for books, music, and movies and cafe. Order online or call 1-800-644-7733 for the nearest Borders. One gift, a million ideas from Borders.
Wow. This is worthless.
It's less than worthless, my boy.
The Argus digital camera gives you up to 250 images, 4 hours of voice recording, and 5 minutes of video.
Early 2000s.
Flute, F-L-U-T-E.
It's fluke.
Bloom. F-L-U-M-E.
Maybe.
It's fluke.
Fluve. F-L-U-V-E.
That's not even a word!
Sorry, got one. It's 45 seconds.
T-W-I-S-T.
It's twirl.
Hello. Free letter? Oh no, we don't get another free letter. 12.
Yeah, they go into bonus lingo with 1 ball. They don't have a chance.
Go.
Gotcha.
43, that's what we're looking for.
43. I can't see the name.
43! Look at that!
Oh, are you fucking serious?
So that's lingo. It's pretty good. It's fun to play along with. The mix of knowledge and luck makes it interesting. And while it can sometimes be frustrating with how dense some of these contestants are, seriously, Rick and Linda here, dumb as rocks. But it doesn't take away from the fun. This is the only show to last past 2003, lasting from 02 to 07, and then a short revival in 2011. Also, apparently it's a remake of a short-lived show from the late 80s that I never realized until doing this video. Anyway, next up.
They're all here for a chance to win $50,000 towards a college education on Win Tuition.
So you know Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? The show where grown adults are asked questions meant for literal children and most of them fail, making you question the very concept of the human brain. This was the prototype for that. Mark Summers hosts, yes, the same Mark Summers that did Double Dare, and takes you from 1st grade through 12th grade in order to earn points to win money.
Seems pretty simple, right? Well, just listen to some of this.
If I told my wife she looked like she weighed 1,600 ounces, she could hit me. But players, how many pounds is 1,600 ounces?
Okay, 16 ounces to a pound, 1,600. Mark, you're saying your wife looks like she weighs 100 pounds? Might want to tell her to eat some more.
7th grade subject is one of America's worst enemies and definitely one of mine. It is the metric system. So now it's your job to name a prefix in the metric system that makes a unit like a gram or a meter larger or smaller by a factor of 10 or more.
Can you repeat the question?
To name a prefix in the metric system that makes a unit like a gram or a meter larger or smaller by a factor of 10 or more.
Can you use it in a sentence?
There's also this guy named George who comes out to model, and I don't know, the way to treat him just feels mean.
Show him your six-pack there. And why don't you show him your backpack? Turn around one more time. Let me see your backpack there. Okay. You can take ads out on that. Okay.
One day, Mark. One day I will kill you and everyone you love, and you'll know my name is George. Some of them are just straight up sexual harassment.
Each of you will receive an assignment, and it is your job to attach the label to the correct spot on George's fantastic physique, the gluteus maximus.
Don't touch George's butt, Julia.
And finally, we have a Susan No from Northridge, and now you skipped high school altogether?
Yes, I did.
How'd you do that?
I took an examination, and they said I passed, and they asked me to join college.
Oh my gosh, and what age did you go into college?
I went in when I was 13 years old.
Yeah, I'm sure that worked out well for her, having to leave kids your own age and go to school with, like, kids 5 to 9 years older than her.
Name one of North America's Great Lakes. Starting off with Julia.
Lake Superior.
That would be correct, and we're going to move over to Tom right now. Lake Erie. Lake Erie would be our second one. Susan?
Don't know.
Went to college at 13.
After 8th grade, the contestant with the lowest score is eliminated as the other two go through high school courses together.
When it comes to signers of the Declaration of Independence, few names are bigger than John Hancock. Which of these smaller signatures did not actually appear on the historic document?
Well, that would be Ben Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin. Sorry, that is wrong.
What?
We will deduct 500 points. The answer, George Washington. He did not sign the Declaration of Independence.
Everything I know is a lie.
The one with the most points at the end has to go to the final exam and has 60 seconds to answer 10 questions correctly to get $50,000 towards their or their children's education.
Yeah, this show just cuts the bullshit and, like, we know you're here to pay off your student loans. Here you go.
You get all 10, you get the money, but you get 10 wrong, Stacy comes out and starts yelling at you for being a dummy person. Also, before commercials, some kids come out and ask you questions.
Speaking of muscles, it's time for a little more heavy lifting. Relative to their body weight, which of these animals is the strongest creature on Earth?
This is part of my detention. I put a whoopee cushion on my teacher's chair.
So that's Win Tuition. It's basically an easier version of Jeopardy. Don't have much to say about it. There aren't even that many funny moments in the episodes I watched. It's okay. I could see why it didn't last long. It doesn't do much to stand out amongst other question and answer shows. It really does seem like the people behind Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader saw this and decided to make it more interesting and fast-paced. Even Mark Summers is kind of dull as a host. It might be worth watching if you want to feel superior to a bunch of grown adults failing basic questions, or if you want to feel really dumb.
And time for our final show.
24 hours ago, 4 brave souls were locked up in our Hollywood and Highland crematoriums. Deprived of sleep, the two teams were each given a huge pile of ridiculous information to study. Trapped in a Hollywood storefront all night, they had to resist the urge to sleep and cram as many facts as possible into their exhausted brains. No sleep, no privacy, no mercy.
Oh, Kathy, see how excited he is?
Now we're gonna find out what they've learned. There's 10 grand on the line. It's time to...
Well, I'm sold.
When I was a kid, I loved staying up as late as I could. Nowadays, I'm in bed by 1 p.m. and no later, but as someone who loves staying up, this show is definitely something I could get into. Hosted by Graham Elwood, who sounds and acts like a more likable Jimmy Dore. For 24 hours, the contestants are put in the Kodak Theater, now called the Dolby Theater, where they have to study a bunch of material in order to answer the questions on the show.
I get exhausted after 18 hours of staying up and having to go to work. I would fail at this.
I wouldn't even make it past the first first round. They're put on giant hamster wheels and have to cite, word for word, a Time article. They have certain keywords, and every time they mention one of those words, they get 10 points. But if they stumble or say any uhs or ums, you'll lose 5 points.
Go! Crispin Glover is in the movie Willow, which is directed by Glenn Morgan. It was a remake of a 1971 horror film about rats. When Crispin Glover was up for the movie, Glenn Morgan was told he wouldn't be able to make the movie, wouldn't be able to finish it because Crispin is too weird, creepy, and disgusting. He also starred in the movie Back to the Future as the Manic Dad. He also starred in the movie Raven's Edge.
He is suing Steven Spielberg now for using a lookalike in the sequels with Glover-esque prosthetics. He keeps a gynecological chair in his apartment as a object d'art. He has a trilogy of movies out, and one of them is called What Is It?, where most of the cast is left out.
Wow. They did way better than I could have.
I mean, half my vocabulary is ums and uhs. I'd be screwed. Whoever has the most points goes first in the second round, which is, of course, the stunned round. Because why wouldn't you force people who haven't slept for 24 hours to do physical challenges? For example, this one has two named Joseph and Lisa, having to put names of presidents' children and match them to their parents, while at the same time answering questions about famous actors' famous children. While their opponents, Sean and Chris, have to put the names of Mars land spots while answering questions about Roman gods.
That's correct. Sean, god of the sun.
Apollo.
That's correct. Chris, goddess of agriculture.
Cirrus.
That is correct. Sean, god of wine.
Bacchus.
That's correct. Chris, goddess of the hunt.
Diana.
That's correct. Sean, god of fire.
Whoa.
Is the 10 grand worth it?
Then we get into round 3 and, well, let Graham explain.
All you have to do is keep the green light on. As long as the light is green, Stephanie can answer the questions. To keep the light on, Jason, you must pedal at least 10 miles an hour. For every correct answer Stephanie gives, you guys get 30 points. For every incorrect answer, speed increases by 3 miles an hour.
This is madness!
And whoever has the most points after that then goes to the sleep center with Miss Pitwick, who reads them a bunch of pointless facts that they'll need to answer for the last round.
In real life, Captain Kangaroo was neither a captain nor a kangaroo.
Lies!
Something supposed to last 15 minutes could drag on for 15 years. You must be so sleepy.
Is this woman gonna smother them if they fall asleep?
And once we come back from commercials, they have to do some balancing act. They have to get 5 questions right, but every time one of their feet touches the ground, Grandma starts the question. They have 1 minute, and if they do it, they get $10,000. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention Icy.
But it is a barn burner. These crammers look wobbly. How about a little encouragement, Icy?
Go Crammers! Go Crammers! Go Crammers!
I got nothing to say, I just want to mention her. They'll also show scenes of them from overnight. Sometimes they'll be going crazy, sometimes admit things about themselves that make you glad they lost.
What happens all the time is that we'll be walking down the street or something, and I'll just burp, because I just do that sometimes. And Joel will go, Lisa! And somebody who's like watching will be like, I can't believe he blamed that on her. And people just look at him and they think he did it.
Lovely.
And there's no way, there's nobody who's going to believe that it wasn't him.
You are a terrible wife, Lisa. Almost as terrible a wife as Stacy. I had to get one more in there.
Well, that was all from the first episode I watched. How about the second?
Did any sort of wild things happen to you last night?
It was a pretty crazy night. There were a lot of people out there. Everybody was out having a great time in Hollywood. And there were some people banging on the window going, hey, why don't you have sex?
Yeah, I think we're done here.
Honestly, the show is actually really good. I'm surprised it only lasted about 9 months. The host is fun, the premise is creative, and seems actually challenging, but not too terribly difficult. This is another one I wouldn't mind seeing a reboot.
Well, that was fun. And you know what? Next month's Christmas and Rebbe reviewers, so how about I give you 2 reviews next month, and maybe one on the second channel as well. What do we got? Who the hell picked that? Stacy!